Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that remote. We got a good show here. You know, we can talk about art. And it's all kinds of art. There's musical art, dancing art, food, manja, art. But today we're going to talk about painting, art, an artist. I don't mean around painting fences. I'm talking about painting things. But this is something different. This is painting that's over 3,000 years old. 3,000. I'm 93. But this is something different. And I'm so happy that, I'm very honored, I should say, that my friend John McBride says, hey, I have somebody here that's an artist and there's something different. I said, okay, bring him on. So we got him. I'm not going to do too much talking here because there's so much for him to talk about. That this has an art, it's something different. There's not too many people do this. And it's more of a teaching thing. If someone wants to learn how to paint like this, we'll give you an information where to get in touch with. If you want to buy some of his paintings, you can do that. There's so much out there. Enjoy yourself. Get your children to learn how to teach them how to sing, teach them how to paint, teach them how to cook, and teach them to be good. Now, my friend is from Norristown, Pennsylvania. John. No, it's not John. I have more Johns. I got this John, yeah, John. Dale Roberts. Weighing 160 pounds. All right, thank you. Now, give me something about you.
Okay. About me, I grew up in upstate New York. And,
what part of New York?
Right near Syracuse.
Where?
Snow country, Syracuse.
Little bear up there?
Yeah. Occasionally there's bear up there. Yeah. We had a lot of snow, a lot of farming, a lot of beautiful landscape. Not much art, just a little bit. But that's where I grew up.
Beautiful scenery, though.
Oh, gorgeous. And it still is gorgeous.
You think that's what inspired you?
I know it is. It's definitely part of what inspired me, yeah. So I grew up like most kids, building forts, playing hide and seek, playing sports. But I loved to draw from the time I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that ever since.
You did art in school?
I did art in school. I did art on my own. I did art before school. Get up in the morning, see something I liked, and just look out the window and start working. Yeah.
You know, you remind me of, I interviewed a newspaper reporter. He says when he was small, he used to write letters to his mother. And rather than talking, and he learned how to write, you know. So you inspired you with your surroundings.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I remember going out in what they call the January thaw up there. We'd have a lot of snow, and in January it would warm up a little bit. And when it would do that, you'd get these patterns in the landscape.
Oh.
You know, where the grass would show through, and then you'd have patches of snow. And I would go out at night with a big pad and charcoal, and I would just draw those shapes. I loved it.
How old were you about then?
12, 13 years old.
Wow!
Yeah.
That's like me. I was a former professional boxer, but I got in a lot of street fights before that, you know. In school, out of school, whatever, in the recreation. All right, now, this type of painting is different.
Yeah.
And what is it?
Okay.
I'm
glad you asked.
See, I'm Italian. I have a little trouble with these fancy names.
Okay, well, you don't have any trouble with cooking, I can tell. It's good. You know, Italian cooking is my favorite.
What is it?
But this is called encaustic.
What's that mean?
Okay. Encaustic means to burn in.
To burn in?
Yeah. So when you paint with encaustic, you have to use heat, and you use wax, and you use pigment.
Everything here?
Everything here. In fact, this is the wax that I use. It comes in a little pellets, I guess you'd call it. And this is beeswax.
Uh-huh.
And it's been cleaned and purified. I mix that with dry pigment, which is this.
What is that?
So dry pigment.
That dries it up? Yeah.
This actually is the color.
That camera's looking at you, so you don't have to look at him. He'll look at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this camera, this
that's
paint,
camera.
Yeah. This paint, this is the pigment that colors whatever you're going to use for your medium.
Oh, okay.
So this colors the beeswax, makes it blue.
Yeah.
or whatever other color I make it. So I got interested in this way of painting right after college. I decided I needed to learn about other ways of working, so I bought a hot plate and some other things, and I just started to work on
This
it.
thing's hot.
Yes, it is.
That's sad. I did some cooking and I make pizza.
That's right.
Oh, I
And
didn't know
this
that.
is a regular hot plate, about 200 degrees, and it melts the wax.
How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, now I got a couple more questions. Where do you show your works?
Oh, okay, good. Several places. Actually, I show work in Philadelphia at the Gross McLeaf Gallery. I show work and sell work at the Blue Heron Gallery in Wellfleet, Cape Cod.
Cape Cod, I got my
Cape
niece
Cod.
lives up there.
I told her to come look.
I tell her up there, she'll buy a hoagie.
I show work and sell it in Scottsdale, Arizona, Marshall Gallery.
I got a cousin out in Arizona too.
Wow, we got to get connected
What
here.
is that be?
And then I show and sell in Denver, Colorado. I have a gallery there. And finally,
I had no cousin in Denver.
in Denver. Well, and finally, I show and sell in Barcelona. So I have work now around the world, I suppose you'd say.
You do this full time?
Yes, I do.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't used to. I used to do some teaching, and then I used to work locally at the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit.
Yeah.
And I actually would get up at 4 in the morning and paint before I went to work.
Oh,
So that was how I could fit it in.
this is your love, right?
Well, my love is over there in the
Oh,
audience.
you got
but,
love. Hello, love.
but yeah,
Throw a
this is
kiss.
my passion.
Throw her a kiss.
Okay. mwah.
Okay, right. All right, now, enough talking. I got enough, I think I got enough about you. And you have paintings you can sell.
Yeah.
Now, and your card here, it's 503 East Marshall Street in Norristown, Pennsylvania. Okay.
That's great.
And you can stop there and, touch base. Art, beautiful, paintings.
Thank
You
you.
know what? Did you ever hear the poem, The Face on the Barroom Floor? It goes like, 'twas a weary summer morning, and a stranger walked in the bar, and he fell in love with this girl. And this guy stole his girl, and he was a painter. And he says, now I will paint a picture of the girlfriend who broke my heart. And he says, I will now paint the face that I will say, and he says, another stroke, and he dropped dead on
my.
the painting. Google The Face on the Barroom Floor. It's about an England bar where he had a couple, this guy was a hit bomb. But it's all about a painter. It's all about a painter.
How about that?
Right, okay, I wish I had it. My wife used to be able, the whole
Recite it?
poem, you know.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So, all right, now, that's enough of that. Now, come on now. What do you want to do?
Okay.
Show these people. This is, he also teaches. If you have a child that you want to teach how to paint, that they're going around painting the stuff on the, what do you call it,
Yeah,
graffiti? No graffiti. This is good stuff.
We'll make it constructive.
All right, start off.
Okay, good.
Tell me what you want to do.
All right, well,
You're all hooked up here.
and ready to
All
go.
right,
I
make
think
sure
I'm
you
ready.
don't, all right, go ahead.
Okay, great.
Tell me what, you talk, you're the boss.
Okay, well, let me get you started a little bit on how this is done. First of all, encaustic painting you have to do on a panel. You can't paint on canvas, or it will move and it will crack. You'll end up with something more like batik than a painting. So these are specially made panels that I make. Usually it's on a piece of birch plywood now, and this is a hot Italian gesso that goes on here. It's a Renaissance technique of making the gesso. It doesn't go on just the regular gesso you buy in the store, because you heat it up as you go along, and regular gesso won't be able to survive that heat. So you paint on special panel. I have a couple of little examples I show folks of what this paint looks like on a surface, and you heat it and it burns it in, and you get all sorts of crazy color patterns in it and stuff. And then, Hank, I'll give you one of these too.
Thank
You can feel the surface of it. It's kind of interesting. Now this paint doesn't dry like normal paint. Because it's in hot wax, it cools. And as soon as it cools, it sets. And then it's ready for you to move on to the next phase. Well, encaustic painting, for every layer you put down on the paint surface, like this is a layer I started this morning just for today, just so I would have some paint on here. So every layer that you do, you get the entire thing covered, then you take a hot air gun and you heat it, and that will fuse it to the layer underneath. That's what makes it encaustic painting. Now I'm not going to turn on the gun just yet, I don't need to. I don't know how the Egyptians did this. They didn't have electricity.
Well, maybe they get big fans, go like that. Right?
Somehow they had to bring heat over to their surface. So,
Yeah.
in a nutshell, that's what I do. The paint is hot. It's 200 or so degrees warm. And so when I paint with it, depending on the temperature of the room, is how much time I have to do something on my panel. Today it's pretty temperate in here. I should have a little time to work before it cools and sets. Now I work from sketches that I do on site. This happens to be a little gouache painting, a little watercolor. This is done up near the Delaware River area, just outside of Lambertville. And it's a little sketch of some buildings along the river. So I brought it in today to see if we can't make this look a little bit more like that. And that's, in a nutshell, how I work. I try to make this look a little more like that. Either the thing I'm looking at, the person, the still life, or the landscape. And it's all about just getting there gradually.
If I have a picture of something, and I take it to you, and I want you to memorize it or whatever you do to it.
Yeah.
You do that?
Absolutely.
Like a guy has like a puppy dog or something, that he loves a dog and he wants a picture of it?
Yeah, yeah.
You do that?
Absolutely. So right now what I'm doing, I'm actually starting to draw a little bit of the shapes that are in this building. And this is the part where most painters stop talking, but I won't do that. I'll continue talking for you. And you can certainly ask me questions along the way as I continue on with this painting. So when I'm working, I'm thinking about the fact that I've got some buildings and reflections happening here, and I want to think about how I'm going to paint that, and not just make it look like it, but make it interesting. So for me, painting is about how it's going to turn out. And often I don't have any idea exactly what it's going to look like until I get it done. So right now I'm just putting in some of the major lines in the painting, trying to locate the shoreline and edges of buildings, and gradually build this up.
It's like a house in the woods someplace?
Yeah, it's a house alongside the shore.
Yeah,
I think it was actually...
It's not a house in the city.
No. I think it was actually an old mill at one point. This building that I'm actually working on right at the moment. So I'm putting some light on top of this so I can pick it out a little bit. And then I'll work right on top of that with other colors. Now, one of the things about encaustic painting that's so interesting, I don't have to wait for this to dry. If this were an oil painting, I couldn't touch it.
Wow.
It would still be wet.
Why?
Well, because the oil has to dry. So this stuff doesn't. It just cools. So I can touch it almost immediately.
It's because it's hot.
Because it's hot, right. As soon as it gets over here, it starts to cool. As soon as it sits on this panel, it's cooling and I can continue to work on it. Now the nice thing is I can put some lights down and then I can put darks right over the top when I want to do that without having to wait. So at the moment I'm just going to put in some lights for sky up in the background here. And start to find my painting as I go. It's kind of fun, isn't it, Hank? You'd like to do this, I bet. And then we've got a reflection. This is usually where the music starts, I guess, huh? Or we're working on the reflection.
You can have background music.
Sure.
Let me see what kind of music are there. When I was just a little boy,
That's what we
I
need.
asked my mama, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Get a house like that. Don't worry about it.
I thought it was Que Sera, Sera.
Background music never hurt you.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm starting to,
In other words, it's formulate, the basic, right?
yeah. So I'm laying down the
I
basic
can't
colors
believe
and
it.
shapes.
You put that on there and you put your hand on it right away and it's done.
Yep, and it cools and it sets. So it's fun with encaustic because you never quite know what it's going to do when you put the color on top.
Oh.
Because as I heat this, it's going to bubble
Get
up.
some paper ready because I'm going to give you some numbers of contact. This is great. You know, some of the greatest singers and actors, after they retire, they become painters. I think
Yeah,
Tony Bennett is a guy that really, a lot of paintings, you know.
yes, he did.
And a couple other, I think one of the Bush brothers, they do a lot of painting.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it's peaceful, you know, like painting and fishing. You wait till the fish bites, you know.
Absolutely.
Over here, you paint and wait for it. It all comes alive.
Absolutely. Henry Fonda was a great one for painting. He was actually very good. He loved to paint.
Yeah. I got a couple questions. Keep drawing.
Okay.
Got some questions from the balcony. How do you get your work in galleries?
Well, you know,
How
that's,
do you want to get your paintings into a gallery?
Well,
Or do you
that's
have to make a contact?
yeah, that's a great
Or do you have to
question.
call up Trunk? Hello,
Well-
Trunk? Yeah, I got an artist here.
Want to get into the
Put him on
gallery?
your cabinet.
Well, you know, that's a
Put
great
him in the kitchen
question.
cabinet.
Usually, you have to go and visit a gallery and show them your work,
Oh,
and then they'll make a
Do
decision.
they have like a
like a panel that
preview?
look, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I've been very fortunate because of all the galleries that I show in, all 5 of them came to me. So they saw my work online, and then they reached out and they
Well,
said,
you know,
we'd like
my
to show.
show
it."
goes on YouTube. It goes all over the world.
There we go.
You get my I got friends in Peru. I got
All right.
friends in Italy. I got friends in Canada. I got some Mexico. They're on the right now. They're on the wall. They haven't jumped over yet.
They haven't jumped over.
I was gonna say, Rock.
That's good.
All right, I got another. Keep paint. Keep going.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. How does an artist make money from his art?
I would say very slowly. You tend to make it a little bit at a time. You tend to make it over the long haul.
Yeah.
You build your reputation gradually, like anything. You know, if you're fortunate and the right folks see your work, it can make it happen a lot more quickly. For me, as I mentioned, for 25 years or better, I had a day job at the Montgomery County IU, and I painted in the morning. I was able to get connected with galleries during that time, but it took a while. We have more questions coming
All right, what are some of the limitations for this
for this medium?
type of painting?
Okay. Well, you need to have electricity nearby. So you can't go out into the field
Unless you have,
with your beret and your palette and your bottle of wine and just
the
wait
power,
for it to work.
right.
Yeah. You have to have
So you have
electricity.
to heat the stuff here, right? Right.
Yep.
You have to dry it.
Yep. So that is a limitation. Also, it's a different way of painting. As you see, I pick it up, I put it on, then I have to work with it. It just feels very different from other kinds of paint.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a whole different way of working and handling. So there are limitations in the way that you work with the medium itself, but I think they're outweighed by the benefits. This is the most permanent painting medium there is. It'll never darken, yellow, crack, or fade. There are ancient Egyptian portraits that were done 2,500 years ago. They look like they were
In other
done
words,
yesterday.
This is the kind of stuff the Egyptians and
Yeah.
and the Greeks, right?
Yep, absolutely.
During the Olympics.
Yeah, weren't we going to make that an event? So now I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to turn it down and warm it up, and it'll change the look of this for a moment. So let me first do that. To do that, I have a special easel here. It allows me to go flat. And then I warm it with a hot air gun.
And that, what's that? What are you doing now?
I'm fusing it to the layers underneath. So it's, in a sense, I'm sticking it to what's underneath by heat, making it grab it. Yep.
Oh.
And that changes the color when I do that. and it changes the paint film.
Yeah.
And in fact, if I were to turn this out, you
Oh,
could
yeah, I see
kind of
it.
see it get
Yeah.
shiny. Uh-huh. And you have to do that on the entire thing. Now I'm going to turn this up a little bit to make it go a little faster for us. And it gets very fluid when I do that.
Oh, yeah?
And that is something you have to think about, because if you have details, you can lose them. If I'm working on a painting and I get distracted, it'll just melt and go away.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's because of the wax.
Yes, it'll melt and
You
be careful.
got another layer put on it?
Yep. So I'm fusing it to what's underneath.
I have to Google and find out how the Egyptians did it. What they
Yeah,
used
when you
for that.
find out, let me know. I wonder how they did it.
I can't think of it.
So this is
And
one of the things I
fireworks,
like
eh?
about it. What's that? This is one of the things I like so well about encaustic painting. You're not exactly sure how it's going to turn out, and I'm always pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Well, that's art.
That's
You're
right.
creating something. What the heck, if you're recreating something, you don't know what it is until you do it.
That's right. Absolutely right. So I'm almost done with this layer of fusing.
What kind of background music we use now for the drying? Can't think of it.
You can use
What
my
kind of
son's
music?
music.
You want jazzy music or no?
Jazz is good. Yeah. I like classical.
Ego bodies, it was Sinatra.
Will Sinatra, maybe?
Yeah. That's
Okay. So I'm just about ready to tilt this forward and
good.
you
All
can
the
see it.
different colors.
Yeah.
What color do you use most? I see here you got about, how many?
What do I have, about
2,
12
4,
there?
6, 12, like 5, 10.
10 colors, yeah.
Is it? And then you have to highlight something, right?
Yeah. I can say that there's no one color I use all the time. Generally, I want the color to be special. So as I tilt this up, you can get a better idea about where I'm going with it. And you can kind of see how the painting's developing. That's funny.
There it is, yeah.
Now
Little by little.
Yep. Up a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. Now another thing I do with encaustic painting is I use a spackle blade quite a bit. And I'll do that to push the color around in a different way. So I have this on here now, and it's slipping and sliding. There we go. And I'm going to warm it again and move it around
So
like
you'll
this.
move it, right?
Yes.
You didn't apply the wax yet, did you?
Not on this thing, no.
Oh.
I'm just warming it up.
When you were doing some painting, what inspired you, or how did you make a contact to do this type of
This kind
painting?
of work?
Completely
Okay.
different than what anybody else would paint. What?
What made me do this?
How'd you learn it? Or
yeah.
who'd you touch base with, or what?
That's a great question. I went to school at RIT in Rochester.
Where?
RIT up in Rochester, New York.
Yeah.
And up there at RIT, my first year, the painting teacher told me that I needed to go somewhere else. He said there just wasn't quite enough of a program here for you at the moment. So I came down here and I studied at Tyler. And at Tyler, this method was mentioned, but it was never taught. So it wasn't until I graduated from art school that I decided I need to do something different from everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's where I started to get interested in this.
Well, this is different.
It's
right?
very different,
I
absolutely.
hope that it inspires some people in the area here that watches this TV show. And like I say, he has a website, and also we have a phone number, 610-308. Let me put my glass and make sure I don't louse up here. 308-6724. And we'll put it on the screen. 503 East Marshall Street, right near MSS Lodge.
That's right,
in the
right
corner
across
there.
from it. Yep.
Yeah, my grandfather lived 3 doors down from it, so.
Oh, that's
On Marshall Street, across the street from there.
yeah. It's a nice area. It
Then there was
really is
Washington
interesting.
School, was there. Mm-hmm. So I think this is so different, so good, and you don't have, it's not, you don't have to knock your brains out about just touching something. It'll all develop. Right now you're putting windows in, right?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. And the rest is imagination.
Yep. There's a lot of that where you
next song
fill in.
would be, imagination is funny. It makes something else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
How did you meet John McBride? He's a
John
former teacher
McBride.
with Montgomery County. He had to do with all the tapes and VCRs and everything.
yeah, absolutely.
That's how I got to know John.
I used to do the van route.
Huh?
I used to drive the van for the Montgomery County IU and deliver
You
deliver
delivered
those films from
yeah.
school to school. And the funny part is I'm terrible with directions. And here I have a job driving vans. So I've known John a good long
Yeah.
time.
Well, I met John McBride when he was teaching down there in Erdenheim.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he used to stop at my brother's restaurant
Oh,
for hoagies and cheesesteaks.
yeah,
You
yep.
know. And then when he got married, my wife Dolores and I, we stood for him. Got married in the courthouse.
Oh,
And
nice.
Judge Smythe, a good friend of mine.
How nice.
And then we went over to Bridgeport. We had a big spaghetti dinner.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Hard to beat that.
Yeah.
So when I work on a painting like this, I gradually build it out and start to get some clarity to it.
Yeah.
I don't start with clear if I want to end with something kind of mysterious.
See, what I like about this is you're thinking and you're putting something together.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, it just sort of builds itself in a way, and I'm reacting to what I see and developing the image that way.
How long, like, for you've been doing this for how many years?
That's a great question. I've actually been doing encaustic painting for 35 years. So right out of art school, I started to do this, and I guess now it's more like 37. And you know, there was nothing that was written about it at the time, so I just kind of had to figure it out along the way. And it was it's been a great ride to learn how to do this.
What other menu do you have?
Other mediums, you mean?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. So I paint in watercolor, which is what this is done in.
Now you teaching people too, right?
Yes.
You have
yes.
a class.
Yep. I teach, in fact, this summer I'll be teaching up in Cape Cod, working up there with an international conference.
Take some lessons? Huh? I got a cameraman there. I don't know. You want to take lessons? I'll pay for them. Okay?
That's a good offer.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe paint girlfriend or somebody like that. No? She'll love you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun
do
to
it right.
teach. And teaching is a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. Absolutely.
You know, I like this when sometimes it comes on TV and a painter, and I just love to see how you do it, and all of a sudden it comes alive.
Yeah.
It comes alive.
Yep.
And it gives you that feeling of creating something, you know.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It's a wonderful
Now, I can see now there's a little bit of water coming in there,
yeah,
right?
see the water coming in down below, yeah. So this was a misty afternoon on the river. So I'm trying to catch that sense of mystery and things coming in and out of the fog.
Oh my God.
And these buildings just started to happen. And it was late fall when I was up there. So I want to, you know, kind of play with the colors of fall.
Now, well, you got this here, they call silver point. What's that?
Silver point is a drawing method from the Renaissance, and it's silver wire on a prepared surface. So what you look at when you see a silver point drawing is actually a deposit of silver. It's another ancient way of working.
An egg tempera, what's that?
Well, that's another old way of painting. It's egg yolk, distilled water, and dry pigment.
A what?
Egg yolk, distilled
Egg
water,
yolk?
yep, and dry pigment. And that's what you work with on that. It's
Egg
very
yolk?
different. Yep. I should tell you also that we had an opportunity this past summer to be in Morocco for 5 weeks as an artist in residence.
Wow.
And I actually got to bring this method of painting to Morocco.
Morocco?
Morocco. Tetuan, Morocco.
What'd you have for dinner and breakfast over there?
Well, I had a lot of the same things we would have here. Although there was a nice dinner called a kafta tagine, which is sort of like meatballs with little bits of beef.
Italian.
That's Italian,
Some
right?
Italian must have dropped over there.
It was very nice.
Had any black-eyed peas down there too? No.
I didn't see any of those. Although the women from the hills brought down incredible fruits and other produce every day.
I have a friend who was a boxer, and he had a box down in someplace, Morocco or someplace there, and they were having dinner, and they put it on there, and he said, "Where was it? It was monkey meat."
Oh, I've heard that.
Oh my God! So he didn't want to embarrass them, so he says, "I'm sorry, I'm a Catholic. I can't eat meat on Friday." So he got out of it with holy.
Oh my, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I got to bring this, and I got to teach Moroccan artists how to do this.
Well, then maybe you should go to Venice, Italy, and see the paintings. Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
Paintings all over the place, museums, you know.
We have another question from the audience.
Yeah, I got another one here from the balcony.
Okay.
Describe some of your favorite paints that you've made. What are some of the ones that stand out?
Oh, that stand out that I've made.
You would like to show somebody, like.
Yeah. I do. I like making paintings of urban landscapes.
Landscape.
Yeah. And down in the city. I like to do those a lot.
City.
Like the city-urban kind of environment. And actually, if you're in the city, you know the building Liberty one? The big tall one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
have
know,
a painting in there.
Seattle, Washington. I was there, and I was talking to an architect that happened to be in the meeting, and he says that they encourage the architects to build buildings in Seattle that they don't want square. They want different, you know, round or triangle, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it a little different. It don't look like it's like a little everything square.
Yep. Yep.
And they encourage you, give them a discount if they
They make it
do
like
that.
that?
You know. So that, I guess that would be a place you want to do something like that.
Oh, absolutely. And every
Right,
city
right,
has its own
right.
character.
All right, now we only got about 45 seconds.
Okay.
So give me what else you think that people should know about you.
Well,
You're there.
I think that if people want to know anything about me, you should know that I never do the same thing twice. Even though I'm using the same medium time to time, I'm very interested in coming up with new and unusual ways to do it. That's why this appeals to me. I love sharing it with others. I will tell anybody how I've done anything.
Right.
I have no problems with sharing every little detail about it.
Right.
And I just love the
Now
art.
tell me now, you teach, right? And people can get in touch with you, and the children, adults, right?
Yeah, I teach at Wallingford Art Center. I'll be teaching a class this winter in egg tempera. I have taught there before. I've done encaustic painting there. So I teach there, and then again this summer I'll be up in Cape Cod teaching, which is a great place.
Do you go to maybe like a Lions Club or the Kiwanis? You don't do anything like that, I guess.
I've done art leagues, and I've done presentations for groups. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, 30 seconds, wrap it up. What do you want to do?
Well, I'll tell you, what we're all doing here today.
Did you do this? You're going to put the wax already on it?
Huh?
What?
That's already in it.
It's already in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all done here today.
Now what? Now you made something like that.
Yeah.
Do you give it a name?
Oh, sure.
What are you going to call it?
I don't know. What should we call it?
Want
Should
me
we
to call it?
Yeah. What are you going to call it?
It looks like hideout for bootleggers. Looks like they're making booze there. It's pretty
you know
good.
what, just
that
nice.
I like. That reminds me of a place people can go there, hunters,
Right.
deer hunters. You know, they're right there in the woods, and they got the little streams. They want to go fishing, so it's beautiful. Everything there. So, Dale Roberts, Norristown artist, 503 East Marshall Street.
Very
He
good.
teaches, he sells, and he'll help you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
coming
much.
here.
Thank you.
And I want to, John McBride, I want to thank him. And I got my cousin, Gary Arena, come all the way down from Lancaster
Excellent.
to visit me here today. And I'm glad that he's in the audience. And also, who else is in the
My
audience?
lovely wife, Lisa.
What's her name?
Her name is Lisa.
Lisa. Okay. And John. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
And
Hank.
you'll hear from us, okay? We're going to hear, maybe people in Norristown, I want to hear more about Dale Roberts, okay? So until we meet again, keep bobbing and weaving, left hand high, stick and move, keep your trunks off the canvas, and may God bless each and every one. Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Rock.
Great
Hey,
stuff.
right, here. I want to salute
Salute.
to your house, baby. Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got all in there.